Alright guys, welcome back here to Kings of the Storm 5. We've got everything resolved and figured out here, and we've got Storm Watch set up, so the draft will be starting between EG and Bear Boys in just a minute.
Yep.
So that's been resolved. This way we've got that set timer down, and you know, we had some issues with the draft earlier where it took a little bit too long, so we tried to enforce it, and had some arguments, honestly. So we're going to be using Storm Watch from here and out today.
Yeah, this sort of takes a little bit of the pressure off us. It's a little kind of a lot to do for us to be talking about the picks that are happening, you know, trying to go through their reasoning, their thought process, and try to enforce a timer at the same time. We can't have extra people in the lobby like a tournament enforcer. So we try to give the teams a good bit of leniency in terms of, you know, the timer. The official ruling is actually 45 seconds between each draft pick. I'm sure you guys know that that's not actually the case for some of the teams. So, I mean, but there is some inconsistency there. I understand that if it does go over 45 seconds, like, who do we give that extra advantage to? I understand that. That's fine. So that's why we're switching over to Stormcraft here so that we can get an official timer on all of this. But, yeah, it's just difficult for all of us, for me and Jake, to balance timing and enforcing all of this while trying to cast what's going on as well. So
it looks like they set up first pick for Barrel Boys, but Barrel Boys requested second pick. And so that's going to be a bit delayed. We got to get Stormwatch fixed now. Of course, eventually the in-game draft system should be improved so we can actually use that and not have to use third-party stuff. I mean, we've created our own unique system which kind of uses the game and kind of uses two computers. But of course, that has no timer, no real way to put an actual enforced timer in there other than manual moderation. So that's not ideal either. We'll have a new Storm Watch setup in just a second. The links are coming here, and we'll be going in just a moment, guys. Sorry for the delays on all this.
So yeah, I mean the actual in-game draft system it's really nice. It's
beautiful.
Unfortunately, just the whole coin flip issue. We can't decide which team gets first pick and second pick.
Can't trade heroes.
There's some trading. So it's really close, and
very
I'm
close.
sure when they make a couple changes to it, we'll be able to throw it in, and that will fix a lot of these production issues and hiccups that we're seeing right now. But that said, in the meantime, yeah, we're going to be using the Stormcraft client. So, and who is taking first pick? I know there was some contest.
It should be Barrel Boys taking first pick. So they'll be betting out the first hero once we get that rolling. Both teams are ready, and the draft will be starting in just a second here. Draft starts in 1-0. Bam, and here is our draft. Now, this is beautiful. Now, this Stormcraft, we were saying Stormwatch. Stormcraft is an incredible tool that we have here, and it looks like the first ban comes out here on Zero Tool from EG.
Okay, so we saw them ban out Zeratul in Game 3 of their last series. So this is going to be a team preference thing at this point. They don't like dealing with Zeratul. They don't like having to play around him. It would seem either that, or they just feel as though he's quite a bit higher in the tier list than a lot of other teams perceive him to be. So essentially, we're looking at them feeling as though Zeratul is a very either something that they personally don't like to deal with as a team, or just they feel he's very strong. So.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, each team kind of has that. Like Maelstrom, we've seen they just Kerrigan
every time. Yeah,
it's Kerrigan. And EG seems to be leaning towards banning out Zeratul. Stitches will be the ban for Barrel Boys, and we see that Evil Geniuses is going to be picking up Tassadar as their first hero.
Yeah, and what is the map is Dragonshire? Okay, yeah, Tassadar. That's we've seen Tassadar picked up as a first pick. It's not incredibly uncommon. Usually it goes in the 2-3 slot, but I can completely understand. Again, Evil Geniuses has always enjoyed playing Tassadar. I would say whenever they can grab Tassadar, they'll pick him up pretty early. So no big surprise there.
Well, we're going to see what they respond with here in just a moment as they are debating. They're looking at Nazebo, so Nazebo's going to be that first hero they grab here for Barrel Boys.
Nazebo, Tychus, perhaps?
Yeah.
Or Arthas. Either of, I think Tychus or Arthas are probably very likely picks to come out of this second pick here for Barrel Boys.
Vala is on the table as well, but I agree that both of those picks make more sense, and it's actually going to be Kerrigan.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Okay. Kerrigan. I'm surprised that they would value Kerrigan over having Tychus in this situation. I understand that, you know, she does have quite a bit more utility in terms of the stun output that she has, especially after level 13 when she hits rewind, etc. But I mean, you can't deny the strength that Odin has.
Right.
So.
And honestly, if we don't see Arthas Tychus, I don't know what to expect, because Arthas Tychus. Oh, okay, so we're not seeing it. Arthas Vala. Okay, that's equally as strong. And with Arthas being picked up, of course, you're getting rid of that Kerrigan. But honestly, I could see a lot of things happening at this point. Now, Muradin is kind of a replacement for that kind of lockdown with Kerrigan. It works, but so is Tyrande. We know Atlanta does play Tyrande.
Yeah.
So that's a very viable pick here for that kind of Roman gank kind of style.
Sure.
We are playing on Dragonshire, and that's something you have to consider.
Yeah, but who are they going to pick up for their warrior? I think that's the other big question you got to think about. You did mention Muradin, but not for that particular reason. It was more of like a roaming style thing. So they do grab the Uther, and yeah, I think Tyrande is definitely a possibility. Although,
why would they
Barrel
pick
Boys?
They don't
I don't
have to
think.
pick her
Yeah.
yet. They don't have to pick her yet. I don't
even know if Barrel Boys even runs Tyrande. So.
Yeah, Atlanta.
Oh, it's Murlocs.
Excuse me.
So, who else would fit in with this? I mean, we've seen a lot of teams running ETC as well. So,
yeah, ETC's been picking up a lot of
the warrior pool. The warrior picks have been a little bit crazy. It seems usually Stitches is banned out, yes.
Okay.
And then there's the Tychus pick, but very late. Maybe they just wanted to secure Kerrigan. But I don't know. I'm not so sure. I like if they had plans to get Tychus. I don't think it's a good idea to wait so long to grab him. So.
I can't disagree, but
I think that they're probably just like, we need damage, and there's they could have taken Hammer, they could have taken Tychus, so they're just like, it's not really an integral part of the strategy that we want to run, whereas Kerrigan could be in terms of the stun, in terms of the roaming that she can do early on. So, okay, yeah. So Brightwing makes a lot of sense. We grabbed Uther. Brightwing and Uther are pretty well regarded as the two strongest support classes or support heroes right now. And then I imagine they're probably just going to pick up some extra damage. We have seen Evil Geniuses run Hammer in the past. It's Dragonshire. It's certainly possible that they might pick her up. Who else is on the map still for damage output? Falstad is a possibility.
Yeah, Falstad, Hammer, Thrall. Those are the three that stand out the most. Thrall Arthas, of course, is very, very strong. It's very similar to Kerrigan Arthas, and we can talk about the same thing with Tyrande Kerrigan. Of course, Zagara is a possibility, but we almost never see Zagara. I'm not really too sure why the lack of popularity with Zagara, but she's really kind of fallen off lately. Like, it's just people can just get more damage output, sustain damage with characters like Hammer, and I mean, we see Raynor more than we see Zagara right now.
That's true, and not for any particular reason. She didn't really hit too many nerfs in the last patch or anything like that. I guess she's just sort of fallen out of favor with a lot of the teams. So. I would Thrall is the pick up here. That makes sense. Yeah, we talked about that being one of the possibilities here. So it's coming down to now, what is the warrior pick? It's probably going to be between Tyrael and did Barrel Boys run ETC? No, they didn't. It was all Temple Storm that was running ETC. So
it's pretty much. I mean, it's obviously the ETC Muradin or Tyrael, but honestly, in this comp, I kind of like Tyrael.
Yeah, I think Tyrael makes the most sense because who dive on with Tyrael for the judgment, you're looking at a situation where Kerrigan can follow up suit very easily. Uther can run in and sprint. I think Tyrael does make the most sense.
Yeah, and plus the shielding for Kerrigan too that he provides might help her out a little bit too. So they have that synergy there. Just a very scary front line available, and when you have that front line with an Odin and Ravenous behind, can be pretty darn good.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt there. So, yeah, we're just gonna wait this out, and it is ETC. So there's a fair amount of disruption on the other team with Thrall. Yeah, also we didn't talk too much about Thrall being able to interrupt Ravenous Spirit too. That's another good point to mention there. But yeah, more or less ETC. I can understand that, but you also have to consider the Brightwing. That's fine. Okay.
We're getting everything just about set up here. We're going to have the lobby going in just a moment, guys. This is game number 1 between Barrel Boys and Evil Geniuses on Dragonshire.
Can I do this, or do I have to go back? I have to go back.
You should be able to. Okay. Just passing the host over to one of the players, and going to get going in just a sec. Looks like all the teams and heroes have been selected here. Going to take a look at our draft. Now you can see once again we're looking at Nazebo, Kerrigan, ETC, Uther, and I guess Tychus. That's going to be one of our teams, and the other team is going to be composed of Thrall, Tassadar, Arthas, Vala, and Brightwing.
Yeah, and I think we're waiting on Barrel Boys. I think has control here, so as soon as they are ready to do that.
We're going to tell the teams get going here. Good luck, have fun to everyone, and we're going to be starting the game right now. Dragonshire. No hammer again. So disappointed. Kubi is just kind of being let down.
I know. We've seen some really nice hammer play too. I think she's picking up a lot of steam in the current meta too, but that's fine.
I got to see a Rhaegar today, so I'm like satisfied.
And Jaina.
And a Jaina. And the same game on the same team?
Yeah. I'm personally very excited about this ETC resurgence here. Pardon the pun. Not intended.
Rip resurgence, the birth of a cow.
Yes. All right, so let's get to introducing these teams. For Evil Geniuses on the blue side, we have Faye playing Vala, Kawhi Rice on Brightwing, LZ Gamer is going to be playing Thrall, Idra will be on Tassadar, and ZP's on Arthas.
And that is, of course, Evil Geniuses. And on the other half, we have Barrel Boys, and it looks like my overlay is, in fact, incorrect. The whole weird draft scenario we had kind of ruins our whole system, so we're going to get that fixed right quick.
Yes, okay, so did you introduce Barrel Boys yet?
I did not.
Did not. Okay, I'll go ahead and do that while you're fixing that. So, all right, for Barrel Boys on the red side, we have McIntyre is going to be on Kerrigan. Trum will be playing Nazebo. Fan on Tychus. Curse Fury will be playing ETC, and Blinks on Uther.
Now, Dragonshire, a very common first map here. We see this heavy rotation kind of composition. When you have Kerrigan, you tend to be very aggressive at the start of the game and looking for those early picks. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Taking a look at the talents, though, there is going to be Bribe on Brightwing, but that's going to be the one bribe of the game, and everything else looking pretty standard.
Yes. Yeah, I can do that, yeah. I mean, I'm always paying attention to ETC's builds, of course, going forward. I mean, more often than not, we see them grabbing block at level 1, but because he's such a new hero to be used in the current meta, it's always fun to see what different players' takes are on what should be grabbed at what level. We've seen some variation at level 4 with groupies, or whether they go Echo Pedal or not, so fun stuff there. And, of course, yeah, we're seeing the Chain Lightning build, perhaps, out of Thrall here, too, so fun stuff.
Yeah, Chain Lightning, I mean, I think we talked about this in the last game where that's like an option. When you have stuff like Kerrigan and Uther with a lot of lockdown and stun, it's very scary to be in that front line. Now, this isn't necessarily going to be a full-on Chain Lightning build. Right. Just that's the mana refund that you get level 1, the additional range on it. But it's speccing less into the Wind Fairy because it's so disruptible and more into that range of the Chain Lightning, giving you a little more damage and a little more sustain in general from afar.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see both teams are sort of trading shrines here. It looks as though EG has control of the top shrine and Barrel Boys has control of bottom, of course. A little bit of aggression here, and ZP's is in a bit of a pickle here.
Yeah, that Primal Grass is going to secure that kill, and the Wolfie comes out, hits Fan, but not really going to do too much there. That's just a root, not actually a stun for Thrall. The only stun Thrall has is, of course, Sundering, one of his heroics, and that's the first blood of the game, much quicker than last game's first blood.
Yeah, absolutely. First that game through that we watched between Evil Geniuses and Merlex, I think we had maybe something like 3 kills going 10+ minutes into the game. Very passive play between the two teams now. Barrel Boys, they do have, once again, it's a very aggressive composition that they have. They do have some 1 Envenom at least available to them. Yep. Actually, I'm surprised. I was almost expecting Thrall Arthas to be sort of the roaming comp for Evil Geniuses and to go to double Envenom, but he is continuing to build into that Chain Lightning, getting the extra additional targets that can be hit. That's the level 4 pickup for him. We do see the Healing Ward for Tassadar and Venom on Arthas for that extra burst damage, Protective Shield on Brightwing, and full multi-shot build coming out of Faye here.
It's going to be interesting to see exactly how the Thrall continues to build. Of course, Thrall being the newest hero in the game, we've seen some variations, and Fan just going for that tower damage. He's got Melting
Point. The distraction. Does it work? He used Storm already. He already used Storm on Fan to try to put up the it's a complete distraction tactic. It worked to a T.
Wow. And a very early Dragonite. Now this Dragonite, he's only got 45 seconds sitting on that timer. Very short timer, very weak and very low health pool, but it's still
Yeah,
Free aggression.
we can expect to see 3 to 4 towers taken out. I don't think that they're going to attempt to push in on any of the forts. They would have to have pretty much a team ace, which is not really going to happen, especially when they're sitting behind that wall. So I would expect to see them just poking at these towers here. They'll probably take these 2 towers out here bottom, rotate up to mid, and attempt to take one more at least.
Yeah, and they're already getting a lot of work done with it. I mean, those 2 towers alone, well worth a really free Dragonite that they just managed to sneak on out. And yeah, they'll get that 4th tower, so 3 to 4, like you said, going to be on point. And ooh, CP's Curse Fury, a lot of damage being traded right there. And Fan is actually looking for the kill.
Wanted it, yeah. Of course, CP's managed to get out in time. Yeah, and we do see the 3 towers secured, 4 Barrel Boys there with the Dragonite, and you know, sub 5 minutes. That's about what you would expect to see there. Yeah. So yeah, we have level 7 picked up for both of these teams. We can discuss some of the talents that were grabbed. We have Battle Momentum on Faye that goes pretty standard, especially if she grabs Strafe. You can make the cooldown so quick on those, and it's just about available for any team fight that you want to hop into. We do have the Cleanse picked up for Brightwing and Uther. Once again, that talent is only available to these 2 heroes, which is why they're picked so often. And Fan getting a little bit of pressure from Edger there, and he has to back up, of course, there. But
well, during that aggression, they managed to pick up some Giants here, and we see on the flip side, they'll likely try to grab their Giants as well. But for the time being, they need to just make sure they soak their lanes. Looking at a level advantage here for Barrel Boys this early in the game, that's the structures they've taken down, giving them that additional experience, and the quest to 10 is well in their favor.
Yeah, and that's going to give them quite a bit of a timing push. They'll be, you know, a good level ahead in that situation. So how they want to try to use that advantage, that's going to be up to them, you know, if they want to try to push out one of the lanes very hard and just force a fight coming out of EG, but we'll have to see.
So Kawhi gets his Prime Sec, picks up those Giants, and quickly just leaves as the team was there ready for that aggression, just missing their opportunity to potentially get a kill or a steal on those Giants. Yep. And this bottom fort is going to be sieged up by these 2.
A lot of pressure. We can see that ETC still hasn't decided on a Heroic. And since he's waiting so long, it might actually be the case that he's waiting for EG to hit level 10 to see what he wants to grab. There's nothing forcing him to pick a talent.
Right.
So he may be waiting to see if Brightwing goes Emerald Wind.
Yes.
If he does, then he'll go Stage Dive. But he actually decides to choose ahead of time. Anyway, he is going to go Mosh Pit. So he has to take into consideration that things like Sundering and Emerald Wind can both interrupt him. We do actually see the Blink Hail coming out of Brightwing and the Sundering, of course, on Thrall.
Well, they're going to be taking these bruisers here as they continue their like, you know, dominance over the map control here. They have this bottom shrine that's going to be capped by them. These bruisers are going to be pushing down this lane, and it looks like they want to push with them.
Yeah, absolutely, and they have the advantage. I mean, the towers have been pushed out already by that Dragonite. We do see a bit of a pull here, and nice dodge there from Kawhi Rice, but they have enough aggression here. They should be able to take out this fort and you know, keep capitalizing on this experience that they have. This will help them to get to level 12 a good bit faster.
So looking at the heroics on the side of Beetle James, I mean, Sundering can set up for a lot of big plays. That's what they want to do. They want to set up with Sundering and then just get a lot of damage done from the Archon and the Strafe with Vala and Tassadar. But it's going to, I mean, there's still a lot of interruptions available on the other side of the team when really, I mean, they got to worry about Divine Storm. They got to worry about Mosh Pit. There's a lot of scary things available, and that Ravenous Spirit is going to be a big issue. That's
going to be the big name of the story here. I'm assuming that we'll see LZ holding on to that Sundering just to deal.
Well, as you say that, it's used instantaneously. The dance is polymorphed almost immediately, and we see Curse Spirit getting very low. He's going to be healing up the best he can, but he's going to be falling. No, not quite. Barely gets out of that. Odin is doing so much work in progress, clutching that kill, and Faye is the last member standing.
Okay, so that was actually a big problem. I understand that they used Sundering to try to stall out the Dragonite because that was the only ranged ability they had at that point. But as soon as that Sundering went down, we saw the Ravenous Spirit. He's just like back up, like, okay, I'm just gonna throw this down, and they had zero answer for it. They got demolished by Odin and that Ravenous Spirit. So not really the best of plays using Sundering in that position. It's honestly just better just to take the Dragonite than just to get ruined in a team fight, or throw the Sundering down. And well, I mean, if you throw it down, you're basically committing to keeping them off that Dragonite. So I think the better play there was to just not throw the Sundering down, not waste it, back up, and just defend against the Dragonite, unfortunately.
Well, they paid for it. They lost 5 members in that fight and the Dragonite, and this keep is being sieged so quickly. Only 8 minutes into this game right now. Barrel Boys is putting the aggression on Team Genius.
Yeah, and they should be able to take this keep here. And you know, you're right, it's pretty early in the game, and it's going to be constant catapults are now going to be pushing down this lane. That's something that EG is going to have to be just constantly dealing with, basically, because those lanes are always going to be pushed out, whether or not Barrel Boys is actively pushing the lane or not. And here they can back up, they can take Giants if they so want to. They have the positional advantage. I think it could be a bit risky if EG decides to dive in. I guess it's sort of a coin flip situation in terms of how they feel the initiation will go. But they do opt to take it. EG, they're pretty well known for being sort of passive in team fights. So they want to make sure that they really have the setup before they dive in. And yeah, this is going to allow them to get 2 sets of Giants so if they so choose. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Well, we're seeing double relentless, double sprint, and a rewind on Kerrigan. Pretty standard stuff there being picked up. Level 13 almost been achieved at this point here for Evil Geniuses, and we'll see what they get. There it is. This middle fort definitely going to be falling here, and EG, they're not down a talent right now, but they are down 2 levels. Yeah, they're down 2 levels. It's, well, almost 2.5 at this point. They're going to be, once Barrel Boys hits level 16, that's going to spell a lot of trouble in terms of the utility that Barrel Boys is going to pick up. I mean, that's a blood for Kerrigan. That's more survival there. That's extra damage out of Nazebo's auto attacks when he takes the upgraded death ritual. More survival for ETC and Tychus. So things are about to get a little bit dicier, especially when they hit that 16. They're all really debating his level 13 talent. He's got a few options there, and we'll see what he ends up going with. Does he upgrade the Wind Fury or something else? Yeah, we'll have to see. And wow, actually, I'd be really surprised if EG decided to go in on this. They are going for it. They're trying to contest it, and they choose to back up. Yeah, that's just kind of unlike the style that EG tends to go for, especially considering they didn't contest the Giants on their side of the map, which is where you would expect if they're going to pick a fight, that would be where they would do it. But since they didn't go for that one, it would have shocked me quite a bit to see them go against that one. I really don't know why he's waiting on this talent for so long. It's really taking his sweet time, and he goes for Spell Shield. Okay, very interesting. Now, a lot of aggression in this top lane coming out of Barrel Boys. They wanted to keep their experience lead forward. They do have that talent advantage, 16, and that's something they have to worry about. We see Army then being used by ZPs almost right away. Odin is coming down here from Fan, and the fight is underway. Now, Faye is pretty far forward, Choir Ice forward. There's going to be zoning. ZP's out the best they can. That big Divine Storm doesn't lock him down, but it does get Choir Ice. The dance hitting LZ Gamer, making him completely vulnerable, and they blow him up in this Ravenous Spirit just kind of in free range right now. Yeah, I actually got some pretty good value out of Dance. I think that really had a lot to do with the fact that you know, Brightwing got caught in it and then died, so there's really no interrupts available at that point. So nicely done in positioning there, and then of course Ravenous Spirit, name of the game once again, just was uninterrupted, and they got a ton of value out of it. This is going to be definitely a Dragon Knight, and they can push hard. If they want to play it safe, they can go for one of the keeps, but they could absolutely try to force a kill out of EG and go for the win if they wanted to. Yeah, I mean, they've got quite a big advantage, 17 to 14, you know, 2.5 level lead at this point in time, and it looks like they're not at all interested in that middle keep. They want to push in towards the court here, walking down through the bottom lane. Yeah, I mean, it's a little late at this point now, just because the rest of EG is back up. Looks like they just don't want to deal with that front wall. Huh. Interesting. Well, a big, dash forward there. ZPs does not have Army of the Dead, and he's going to get blown up so very quickly. The Howling Blast hitting 3 members, but not quite enough to really be able to capitalize on. This Dragon Knight sitting on a ton of health still. I mean, it's going to be constantly aggressive. Only 12 minutes into the game, but it still hits pretty hard. Strafe doing a lot of work, so the Dragon Knight falls, but now you just have to worry about a Tychus. He does not have Odin available at this point in time, and he's going to be backing up. That Polymorph really quite scary right now. Good pull there from McIntyre just to try to provide a little bit of extra feel. EG is definitely pressing forward. I can completely understand why there's so many members of Barrel Boys that are really low, and they all get out. That was actually a really nice rotation from Barrel Boys as they were retreating there, just to make sure everyone got out without any contests. So nicely played there. Yeah, and Zebo's making his way down to these bottom bruisers. We see the Siege Giants have been picked up here, and they're just kind of keeping their dominance on the map. Yeah. Level 17 to 15, keeping that lead. And yeah, they didn't get a keep, but it's still quite low. Yep. It's worth there, and I'm guessing we're going to see EG play very carefully here. They want to make sure that they're soaking. They want to get to level 16 before they even get forced into taking any more team fights. So I'd actually like to see them splitting up a little bit, especially into that mid lane. There's some experience there they should be grabbing. And the Knights aren't that much of a threat that you really need all 4 members, especially because that wall is still up next to that keep. There's a safe play that you can make to soak some of that experience. Yeah, well, EG is trying to recover some ground here. They're getting towards level 16. Once they're in 16, they can fight on a pretty even field here. These bruisers being picked up, though, and will EG catch onto it, be able to defend this? It's a really tight spot, and without 16, oh, they do hit it.
Yep, and there we go. So this is gets them on a little bit closer to even footing. Of course, they are still down 2 levels. That's a good chunk of stats, stat points to be down. But we do have the Blood for Blood on Vala. I'll guess that that's Criterize. Yes, it is. That's a 25% extra damage on Polymorph. Stone Skin for Arthas. And Dimensional Warp on Tassadar. Something it's usually you see that pair with Prescience, but in this case he decided to go with Shrink Ray level 13.
Forked Lightning was in fact picked up by Thrall, so he is going for that very sustainable, very long range, not really in your face kind of build. Now this isn't the optimal DPS. If you want to max out DPS on Thrall, you really spec into Wind Fury battle momentum and you make sure you're just, you know, casting Wind Fury as much as possible. The problem being is that works great in solo queue, but in a competitive environment, one stun on you, they're going to chain those stuns and you just can't stay alive at all because he's so reliant on casting spells to stay alive.
Yes, absolutely. Very good points to make there, and yeah, I think we've been seeing that more and more. Is that Thrall's? It's a risk. It's a big risk. So,
well, ZP is getting initiated. He pops Army of the Dead, and they can just back up here if they want. But ZP's gonna want to put the aggression on here. We see the Slinestorms there cleaning up that wave, and EG is gonna be at least getting these towers. But how much more aggression can they get for the heroic they spent?
Yeah, and I mean, so we do have the shrines active, and we can see that Barrel Boys will have control of both of them. It looks as though ZP's is rotating up to take the top shrine. I think that's probably the right call here, just to stall out that Dragon Knight. They cannot afford to give up a Dragon Knight at this point in the game. It's going to mean a lot of pressure, possibly at least 1, maybe even 2 keeps. And if they had a couple deaths in the meantime there, that would be the end of the game. So they do need to be quite careful doing this. And we see the Barrel Boys is kind of floating around. They're looking to get the kill. And yeah, CP's very smartly actually harsed out of that situation because he realizes how much the Barrel Boys team was in between himself and the rest of EG.
Well, the Dragon Knight was stalled by Idra and ZPs, but is it enough time? They're starting to be capped here. They're not going to be able to get to that bottom shrine in time. Trumbull in the Dragon Knight here. This is the 3rd consecutive Dragon Knight, so it's 3 Dragon Knights to none and 10 kills to none in favor of Barrel Boys. Very convincing play right now.
They're looking very strong here, and yeah, like you said, 3 Dragon Knights. They've just had map control for a huge chunk of the game. And it's paying off for them. You can see that the structure they haven't even lost the fort yet. Just a little bit of pressure in that bottom lane. So here they are poking again poking away once again at this cheeseboards, at this middle keep here, and they should be able to get this. And they may be able to press a little bit harder up into that top keep.
Well, the Sundering comes out of Thrall here. We see the strafe being used immediately. McIntyre falls super low, but the Storm Shield is there. Actually, not from just shields in general. Kerrigan's Maelstrom provides a ton of shielding, and she stays alive through what seems like no situation anyone should be able to live through. Right wing using Blink Heal to get out of the situation after tapping the well. One survivor. The only hero to die at this point is going to be Thrall, but the Dragon Knight is still alive, and they're opting to go for this
yeah, I think they can do it, too. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely what you saw McIntyre pulling off there with Kerrigan. You have this fine line that you have to toe as a Kerrigan player, because you have to dive in and you have to activate Maelstrom, which you're getting shields back from. So you need to make sure you're actually putting out enough damage to justify you being in the middle of the enemy team. She's not a tanky hero at all, but if you play her right and you're putting out enough damage, you can get away with it. So it's very hard. It's very easy to dive in and just get destroyed immediately and not have any effect, or be doing a ton of AoE damage to the rest of the team and really turn it around. Just a make or break hero for sure.
Well, all 3 keeps are down on the side of Bleeding because when not a single fort has fallen for Barrel Boys. They're continuing their dominance. The map is pure red right now. Level 20 has been achieved, and all the talents have been picked. 3 bolts, Divine Hurricane, and Tycho is saying, do I want Blink or do I want Big Red Button? I don't know. He really doesn't know. He's going to keep that.
4 Bolt Boys?
He's going to keep that option open if he wants to bolt the storm out of a situation. So he actually, he's going to play reactively with that, and I like the call. Now, again, the map being very red right now. These bruisers are just about to spawn, and we can see them making their way on over.
Oh, they might be trying to pick a fight here. You can see Trumbull's just nicely positioning himself across the wall. I would guess that Tychus is probably going to go for Big Red Button here. They have enough of a front line between Kerrigan and ETC to justify it, just to get that extra DPS during those team fights. I mean, they're far enough ahead, too, that's like, does he actually really need the situation to escape from? Why not go for the extra AoE damage?
Yeah, but we'll find out. I'm sure he'll decide as soon as he pops that Odin. They got this initiation on ZPs. They force Army of the Dead on out, and we see it going down. Now there goes a Howling Blast, but not really going to be enough to secure any kill because that is Fury, and he has got a big health pool. That is for sure.
Yes.
30 seconds till the shrines are going to spawn. Idra getting engaged on, but he's going to just be able to get on out of there.
Yeah, McIntyre actually missing that.
Wow, as we say that, Fury goes on in for the aggression, but again, Idra
Yeah, he has to be careful now. He doesn't have another dimensional shift available to him because he didn't go Christians. So he has no escape. He just has to poke at this point. Shouldn't activate Archon until he has that back off cooldown. It looks as though Barrel Boys is just going to back out of this situation. The Shrines are active. They still have very good control of this map here, so they can split up, take the Shrines, and possibly get another Dragon Knight.
Looks like Blinks and Trommel are going to be the only two in the bottom half here. Looks like they're going to be trying to stall this out. Nice zombie wall just to keep zoning them out of here. And it actually is going to end up buying enough time for Kerrigan to grab the Dragon Knight. Big plays there made by them. It was a 2v5 or 3v5 in the bottom lane, and that allows them to get the Dragon Knight very quickly and decisively.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, it's getting to the point, once you hit around 20 minutes or so, these Dragon Knights are hitting for, oh, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. They can't afford to lose anyone at this point in the game. They have that much less DPS trying to deal with the Dragon Knight, and that's probably going to be game. I think if they just focus the core, they can do it.
I never really thought about that too much, but man, ETC bolting in front of you and knocking you back, that is actually terrifying.
Yeah, it's so hard to react to that.
Tychus went with big red button. Like, they didn't have up to 20, so what Avala would want to do is Avala would want to just blink in return to get away. Just blink on out of there. But no Bolt of the Storm available,
no Bolt of the Storm.
That's not an option.
We even saw some slash dances coming out of Barrel Boys at the end there. A little bit of BM play, but I'm sure it's all in good fun.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. So that's a 1-0 advantage here for Barrel Boys in this losers match. And guys, we're just going to keep on going the best we can, get ready for game number 2, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Yep.